On to another Desmond Tutu at Stamford Bridge. I was there. I was very angry.
Lead, because I was getting drunk by this point.
I think that is one of the top 3 worst performances I've seen from Arsenal in the last 18 months since we kind of, in air quotes, became good. It was shocking. It was like the tech. I think with Arsenal, the one consistent thing I know I'm going to get when I watch our football team is just technical security. And it's like the tone of the game from the first few minutes. I remember like Zinchenko misplaced a pass, Rice did, and it just felt like nothing was sticking. I'd love to see these kind of stats on consecutive sequence of passes.
Was it too wet?
Pardon?
Was it too wet?
I don't think so. Well, were you taking a piss there?
Did you get proper soaked, by the way?
No, I was in the upper. So
no, I mean like
covered.
before or after the game, because it was lashing it.
Do you know
wasn't
what? I
it?
somehow missed it. I don't know how.
Lucky.
I went straight into the pub and then walked round, and it was kind of dry around then. It was my first time actually doing Stamford Bridge as an away fan, and yeah, it was quite a nice view. I was in the upper tier in the shed end, but yeah, the actual game, I thought we were shocking, and like, I think Chelsea set up defensively well, and they kind of limited the spaces we could try and play in centrally. I thought they did that well, and they set up for transitions really well. But in terms of them building from, like, when the ball went back to their keeper and defence, I just felt like they were kind of lumping it straight back to us, and then it was more when we had the ball in the first phase, I feel like we weren't doing anything to progress it with any purpose. And people like Odegaard, I thought he was bad, really bad.
Why?
I don't know, just everything just felt technically off. I don't think he was in the right areas or the zones enough to receive.
There was a lot of criticism of him on Saturday.
Did you not agree with it? Or?
No, yeah, to be honest, I didn't think he played well at all. I'm just surprised how forceful some of the things that were said about him was.
In what sense?
Just there was a lot of get him off the pitch, and
well, I kind of wanted him to be
trust him
subbed.
to be your most creative hub, if you will.
Yeah, I just think in days like that where we've got a squad, as we've shown again with kind of some of the subs that impacted the game, I think if things aren't working, just change it. And if anything, I thought Arteta made the subs too late. But obviously, Chelsea went 1-0 up, penalty.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with it. I get it. But
So this is where I
actually think the header's going wide as well. Supposedly part of the decision was that the header was on target. I think it's going wide.
I think it's a pen. And you know what I'm like. I'd find any.
I think if you compare, there was 3 this weekend. So there was the Michael Keane with his arm out.
Yeah, that was blatant.
McTominay completely leans into it. It's definitely a penalty as well. This one, he's trying to head the ball.
He is, but
that's the difference.
It's one of those. I can see why it's given.
Yeah,
I think
and it's going to be because his arm does end up so far away from his body.
I always try to think of it like this. If it was the other way round, would I have wanted a pen?
Oh, of course you would, yeah.
So
I
that's
that.
why I'm kind of like...
Yeah, that's why I say I'm uncomfortable with it, because I think like it's probably the right decision. It just feels too harsh for what it is.
Yeah.
It just feels too harsh when 100% that's not intentional.
Yeah.
No,
Do you think
there's no way he's meant to do it? He's panicked because Mudrik's got across the front of him, so he kind of dives
it's the nature of the way you jump? Yeah.
His body's all over the place, and then he ends up really out. Sure, it stops the ball and it hits him kind of flush.
I know it's jumping around a bit, but just for the sake of similar topic, do you think there was a pen shout on Jesus at the end?
Yeah, I absolutely think that could have been given. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just wanted your opinion on that, but
well, Sanchez ends up like sticking his arse in his face, basically.
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, I was very surprised that didn't go to VAR, but that's not the reason.
They did check it, I think, mate.
Oh, did they?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm surprised it wasn't, but like that's not to take anything away from how poor Arsenal were, and yeah, like I said, Chelsea defensively set up well. But
why do you think we were poor?
Like I said, the technical security on the ball, I feel like it was just very. I think too many key technical players had an off start to the game, and that set the tone. So the likes of Zinchenko, Odegaard, I think this game with Jorginho in midfield, I don't think suited him. I think he's fine when we're going to have lots of touches high up with the...
a lot of the ball, right?
Sorry, that was the wrong way of saying it. Basically, what I'm trying to say is it turned into a transition game, and that's where I don't think it suits him. Because... yeah, I think it just doesn't give us that level of control that we need in that sort of environment. And what I was saying about the key people like Zinchenko, Odegaard, and then I think Declan Rice in the first half was a bit too far out because of where he was being told to position, and it's like we just needed him central to kind of try and command the game, and all of those little dominoes just weren't falling into place, and it felt like a momentum thing that we just couldn't. I felt like we weren't progressing the ball fast enough out from the back. Everyone had an off start to the game, and it just felt hard to recover from that.
And yet you've ended up with a decent result here, really.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Obviously, the outcome, I'm happy that we obviously came back and we didn't lose the game. And it's another one where it's a point away at Chelsea, regardless of context, is never bad. I think I'm concerned about something we've spoken about before in terms of the underlying metrics I've seen around Arsenal's attack this season. On the eye, I've just not felt it's been as fluid. This is something I've been consistently saying for a while, and I know we touched on a couple of pods this week about, our fixtures are turning, the front three are now back together. It's one of the. This has happened a few times after international breaks though, where we don't really click per se. But
would you want a 12:30 kickoff?
No, just it's something that's an issue, and I'm concerned about the attack. I am. I've said it a couple of times now, but not really sure what needs to be done.
Okay, I'd say what the game reminded me a little bit. It reminded me of when you lost at City, the 4-1.
The away game, yeah.
Yeah. In the sense you'd mentioned about Chelsea being quite direct.
Mm-hmm.
City had the benefit of having a Haaland in that fixture, whereas Chelsea obviously don't have that profile of player. But I think there is a trend of good teams trying to play this way against you with essentially without a 9.
Yeah.
And in that game, Haaland and De Bruyne both played more like 10s. And that was where City found the extra space. They didn't have Stones coming out from centre-back, or he stayed. He stayed at centre-back. City played 4-4-2 all bloody game.
Yeah.
And City found their extra men through Haaland and De Bruyne dropping short off the centre-backs. And that's obviously what Chelsea did here with Cole Palmer and Gallagher. And it's something you're struggling with.
Yeah.
Which I haven't quite worked out why yet, because obviously Rice being in the team now should be helping with that. But I think, again, that probably comes back to what you said about where he's being asked to be. Because how well Rice moves side to side, if he plays in a deeper position, that really should funnel against and get rid of that problem.
Yeah.
But it is something that the brave teams are trying against you. Most teams aren't good enough to do it because they'll get mugged in midfield with just a two. But Chelsea are a good team, and people might disagree with that at the moment. But I think they're getting players back fit, and I think we saw with that combination of they're creating their own box essentially in midfield with, like I said, Palmer and Gallagher as 10s and no out and out 9. That they have got good players in there, and suddenly once you've done that, you've manipulated a man advantage in most scenarios. But yet you still had so much of the ball. But yeah, what you said about transition, you was in trouble.
Yeah.
Especially in that first half.
And this is another thing I've alluded to before is I think a potential solution to this is I think we're missing Thomas Partey's on the ball abilities. Sure, he can be a little bit of a liability defensively. He's not the most mobile. And
is he any more of a liability than Jorginho defensively?
No, I don't think so, no. And I just think it's more, if you look at Rice and Partey's profiles as a pair and you get them together on the pitch, I think it gives you the combination of everything you need. I think Partey's ability to progress the ball incisively, offensively, is something we've been lacking, in my opinion. I think quite a lot have been overlooking that. Even like the way he would punch it into Odegaard quite a lot. It's like, it's not quite there. But yeah, not to take anything away from Chelsea. It's just, but to give you the context of where my headspace was, when we were 2-0 down, I didn't think we'd be coming back. Even though
I thought you would be watching the game. Yeah.
Even though I've seen us do this time and time again, I've not seen enough consistently in terms of chance creation for me to think we're going to do this. And then obviously I was over the moon. We did.
Quite clearly, if Robert Sanchez doesn't give Declan Rice the ball, I think you would have lost.
Yeah, I agree. Raya, what's your thoughts on him?
I don't think that.
Do you think Mudryk meant it?
No. No. Also, I don't know what the expectation is on that. Like, did people think that he should save it?
See,
he's miles above his head. He's got no chance.
I'm glad I think people are being way OTT on this. I think
there was more like the distribution for the one where you give the ball straight to Palmer and stuff like that was more concerning.
Yeah, that was, I think, context of like nervousness around himself and stuff. But
because that pass just wasn't
It was not on at all, no.
But I still think you're better with him than Raya would be my take, and let it settle down, right?
With him than Ramsdale? Or?
Yeah.
Cool.
You're better with Raya than Ramsdale, sorry. That's what I meant to say. he needs to adjust to the expectation of playing for Arsenal and what that is and the pressure that comes with it, etc. That's all. So stick with that. Although you've got Brentford soon, haven't you?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you have game week 13 or something, I think, from memory.
Okay.
And you can't play, right?
Yeah, away from home, November the 25th.
Yeah, it's game week 13.
Sure, yeah. Well, and because it's a loan, yeah. I'd assume.
So Ramsdale will play in that, won't he?
You'd assume so, yeah.
I mean, for that.
I don't know what the clauses of the loan are, but.
From a fantasy perspective, no, definitely not. I think Gabriel would be the one. I think Zinchenko's avoidable.
Yep.
Because I actually think Tomiyasu's done quite well when he's come on in periods recently, and I don't think it would be a huge shock if, say, Tomiyasu played against Sheffield United. So you're really looking for Arsenal. I think it's a clear free. If you wanted to go free, it's Gabriel, it's Saka, it's Martinelli.
Yeah. No love for Jesus. Right. I personally wouldn't, but just throwing another name out there.
No, I mean, I'm just thinking at the similar sort of value, Watkins,
Alvarez,
there's
too many
Nunes.
Others.
I'd rather all three of them. Even if you were going with the no Haaland route, it would be those three rather than Jesus for me.
I thought Cucurella did a really good job on Saka with his kind of front foot defending and stuff. I feel like it's happened a couple of times when.
I mean, Chelsea defended really well.
They did, yeah.
Chelsea played really well.
That's the thing. I don't want to take anything
Chelsea
away.
Chelsea deserved to win the game.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Just the momentum swung massively and quickly because of an error, and that can happen. And you know, people, he's just got to knock it long. You listen to Alan Shearer Saturday night. He's just going to knock it long. Well, no, he's trying to play a pass to Enzo Fernandez. It doesn't work. And Rice reacts.
His anticipation is a joke.
Yeah, it's the longest distance goal for an Arsenal player in the Premier League since
2007 or something, wasn't it?
Started producing their records. Yeah.
Just one thing I would say, because I do agree Chelsea were the better team. Their goals were a penalty and a mishit cross. Like there wasn't many moments where I looked and thought, okay.
So there's the Palmer shot in the first half,
where it went just wide of
Raya.
Raya.
It was a great effort. He and Jackson in the second half both end up with one-on-ones where they end up trying to go round Raya.
Yeah.
And he wins it. These are big chances. I mean, the Jackson one, the Palmer one happens really quick, and Raya actually reacts really well after giving the ball away. The Jackson one, when Sterling puts him through, why he doesn't just hit it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Jeez. And I think that was the 2-1.
I think it was at 2-1, yeah.
Just hit it, mate. He was so hesitant about it. Frustrating.
Yeah. Someone that I thought did.
So no, I think they did have moments.
Okay.
The goals are look, it's all cross all day, every day. He never looks at the goal.
Someone that I did thought did well when he came on was Havertz. I thought he was a good kind of target up front, was linking play quite well, and just gave us a different option to go more direct. That's one thing I was thinking during the game was. It clearly wasn't working trying to play through the midfield. So that's why I was thinking I quite like Havertz as an option in terms of go over the midfield and kind of through it sort of thing. No, not through it, but yeah. But yeah, a little bit, like I've said before, a little bit concerned about Arsenal offensively, hoping it's one that...
So would you not bother then?
That's why I've left it, mate.
Saka, Martinelli.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When I left it on wildcard,
Sheffield United and Burnley next 2 home games. And it's got Newcastle away in the middle of that.
So that is not me saying they are bad fixtures. My thing is a general trend concern with Arsenal. So I think against Sheffield United and Burnley, we'll be absolutely fine. We'll create enough chances to hopefully score enough goals. It's more...
You'll wallop one of them.
I think so as well. Yeah. But I think there's a reason that it's been, 9 games now, but we looked at the pod last week and offensively... Statistically, we're mid-table. I don't think that's to be ignored.
Same also applies to Manchester City at the moment.
Fair.
So,
but it's the kind of eye testing, right? It's just something's not clicking. Like it's not there fluidity-wise for me offensively. But that is not to put anyone off against Sheffield United and Burnley at home.